Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu diesem Video. Heute werde ich euch erzählen, warum es ziemlicher Hack ist, in einer anderen Sprache Videos aufzunehmen. Alright, hi and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about language and how the language barrier kind of impacts how I do my videos. I was inspired to do this video by Elsa from the French book Dreamer. She's from France, and when she was doing her newbie and international booktube reader tag, she talked about how editing videos for her was kind of hard, because whenever she was editing the videos, she would notice mistakes that she'd made while filming and while she was talking, and that those mistakes that she noticed afterwards really bothered her, and that she always thinks about refilming the things she said and just changing the way she talked. And I could identify with that because I, as a non-native speaker of English, I have the same feelings whenever I'm editing my videos. So the last video I did, it was the something tag, bookish superhero tag, and while I was filming the video, I felt like all the stuff that I was saying was very good and very on point and very smart. And when I edited the video, I was noticing a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes really bothered me. So I thought, no, I have to do this video now. Because as a person who is a non-native speaker, it is hard to use the language and form the language in a way that you would like to do it. So for me, doing my videos in English is like the hard path that I've taken. Doing videos in German would be much easier for me because talking in German comes way more natural to me, because my thinking is in German, obviously. And I noticed this a lot. So for me, learning English started in 5th grade when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So English classes in Germany, they are mandatory. You can't avoid them. You have to learn English. And I did that, and I think I'm doing pretty well. So I think my English is, I don't want to brag, but I think it's quite good. So when I was older, I took advanced classes and I consumed a lot of American media in English, and I'm reading a lot of books in English, obviously, and I'm doing videos in English, so there's so many opportunities for me to improve my English. And it's just not even improving, it's just like staying at the level you are, because I think listening and reading is one thing, but talking and writing is a whole different beast. So I think I'm quite grateful for the opportunity that I have with those videos to practice my talking skills. But anyways, so I grew up speaking German, and while English and German may be quite similar in the way grammar is concerned, there's still a few differences. For example, when you're talking in German sentences, the structure is very lenient, so you can build one sentence in like 5 different ways and it would still be correct German. But in English, I think there's only so many ways you can build a sentence before it becomes wrong grammar. Also, there is the thing with words. Sometimes I'm missing words that I want to use, and in my head it all sounds so I know what I want to say, and I think I can get my point across, but I always think about using better words and smarter words and more eloquent words, but I can't do that all the time, and I have to, sometimes I'm making these pauses where I'm thinking about the word that I want to use, and I'm like, this word. And it doesn't even have to be like a super special word. Sometimes it's kind of easy words that I want to use that don't come to my mind right away. Yeah, so I think it's harder for me to just talk. And I think another point that's quite hard is bringing my personality across. Because I'm from the western part of Germany, so this is called the Ruhrgebiet, and this part of Germany is known for talking a certain way, like every other part in every country is, I think. And I can't talk that way in English because that's weird, right? In school we learn, so when I was younger we learned like British English, and then at one point they were like, yeah, just use whatever kind of English you want, just stay consistent. But even though they said it, for me that wouldn't be easy, because I would write the things as they come to my mind, and that maybe the English, so the British spelling at one point and the American spelling at another point, and I wouldn't really know the difference because I didn't care, to be honest. But we were taught like this scholarly English, and like we were not taught slang. And where I come from in Germany, we speak this kind of German slang that I would never use in English, because there is no real equivalent for that. So the way you see me now talking in English is way different from how I would speak if I were speaking German. So I think that's another point, that it's hard for me, because sometimes I want to be funny and sassy and all that stuff, but I'm missing the words or the pronunciation, or just that what I want to say, I can't get that thought across as naturally as I would like to. And I'm pretty sure that when I'm editing this video later on, I will notice tons of mistakes. Which brings me to my next point. And I think that's actually what I want to talk about, because I have the feeling, and I think I'm not the only one who's ever learned a different language and who's felt that way, and that is the shame you feel when you're talking in a different language that's not your native language and you're making a lot of mistakes. And I think that's very natural. So when I was starting to learn English in school, in the beginning you would learn like fixed sentences like hello, my name is, and how are you, I'm fine. So stuff like that. And you would just memorize those sentences and then repeat them and maybe change them a bit to fit whatever you want to say at that time. And I think when you're learning a language, at one point there is this kind of frontier which you have to cross, which is from just learning things by heart to actually understanding what you're saying, and just thinking in this language and just feeling the language and get a feel for the language. So you see, I'm already having problems finding the words again. So, but at that point, I really sucked. I think my English really sucked, and I think that was around 8th grade. I didn't like my teachers, so to be fair, I had some other issues as well. But at that point, my English was really bad, I think. And then it got better because I got to that point of really truly understanding and getting the language at a later point. But I think that not all people who learn different languages get to that point. And I still think that those people should talk in this language. So I think that whenever you're learning a different language, and I'm not just talking about another language that's quite similar, like English and German, but also something completely different, that, I mean, I think that's common knowledge that speaking the language is the only way to practice speaking language. But I still see a lot of people being ashamed of what they're trying to say, and just when they're in a conversation asking the other person to repeat what they said, maybe slower and with different words so that they can understand what the other person is saying. And I think that's really sad, because you can't practice a language, so you will never be as good as a native speaker, I think, but you can get better and improve. And I think the most important thing about languages is that you can communicate. So even though I'm using, I don't know, even though my sentences aren't grammatically correct all the time, I think you can still understand what I'm trying to say. And I think that in the future, I want to just tone down just correcting my mistakes, because I feel like that's a way to just go into this micromanagement of how you talk and how you speak. And that's really bothersome. And I think it's the wrong way to approach speaking and talking in a different language. because that takes away the focus of being able to communicate and puts it on being able to correctly communicate. And I think what's wrong with me speaking a certain way if you can understand what I'm trying to say? I mean, I've done everything right, because you understand what I want to tell you. And I think that is the most important part about speaking languages. I've been saying speaking and talking a lot, and I want to apologize for that. But anyways, I just feel like I should be less ashamed of the mistakes I make, and that I should just use the words that I know and the grammar that I know and the things that I want to say, and just put them out there. And I mean, obviously I want to speak as correctly as possible, but that isn't that easy most of the time. And I think it would be the same if I was just doing my videos in German, just in a different kind of way. Because my German is more fluent than my English, and yeah, so I just want to encourage everyone who's learning a different language, whatever language that may be, to just practice it. I think native speakers of whatever language, they're always happy and interested when a person is trying to speak in their language. And I don't think that I know people who would discourage them from just practicing more and learning more. Maybe if they're on the internet and just writing those kind of stupid comments whenever they are like, oh, your English sucks, learn some English, which is dumb. But I think in real life, whenever you would speak to a native speaker, maybe in their country when you're on vacation, and you would come up to them and talk to them in their language, that they will always encourage you to just keep on going, and they would tell you how good you are, because being able to get something across is an accomplishment in and of itself. And I guess that's all that I want to say, and next time there will be books again. So thank you for listening to my thoughts, and see you again next time.